I'm going to make 12 Fate fairy cakes, and I'm going to be using the Fate low protein cake mix. Now we have a chocolate flavoured one, and the method for using these cake mixes is exactly the same, whichever one you want to use. But I'll do it with the plain cake mix. Basically, in each packet there are 2 by 250 gram sachets, and I'm just going to use one of them. And that's enough to make the 12 large fairy cakes. Just empty that into a mixing bowl. And the next ingredient, which is really so simple, this recipe, next ingredient is soft tub margarine, and you want 65 grams of that. Just spoon that on the top. 51. A bit more. Oh, too much. There you go. 65 grams. And then the next ingredient is liquid. It is completely plain, but I haven't added any flavouring at all to that. So you could use just water, but you might need a little bit of vanilla essence. You can use almond essence if you like, and you can. But the best way to do, in my opinion, is to use a pure orange juice. I've got orange juice here, but you can use apple juice or pineapple juice. As long as it is pure fruit juice and not a juice drink, you'll be fine. And you want 125 mils of that. And then with a whisk in your hand, just pour in the orange juice and whisk it round. And just concentrate on getting those dry ingredients mixed in. Don't worry about any lumps at this stage, they'll all disappear. And you're just going to mix it for up to a minute. That's it. It is. You might think it is a little bit runny, but that's exactly how it should be. And it's nice and smooth. That's lovely. I'm going to get rid of my whisk. And for fairy cakes, I'm just going to take a patty tin. And you want some paper cases in there. And then just take a spatula, scrape down the bowl, and then just fill each paper case. Try and get it as even as you can. That's the 12th one done. I've got a little bit more mixture in my bowl, so I'm just going to go round again and top them up. As long as they're more or less even, they'll cook in the same time then. Don't like to waste any. That's it. I think that's more or less it now. Lovely. Now they're ready for the oven now. But what I'm going to do, which is quite an idea you might like to try, so I'm just going to get some jam. Any flavour you like. I think this is raspberry. Yeah, this is raspberry, but you can use any flavour you like. and I'm just in half of them, I'm just going to put a dollop of jam in the middle, probably about half a teaspoonful. And that'll cook when the cakes are in the oven. Now I'm going to put them straight away into the oven. I've preheated my oven, that's very important, don't put them in a cold oven. And it's gas mark 5, about 190 degrees centigrade, and they'll probably take about 15 to 20 minutes, depending how hot your individual oven is, because obviously they all vary. So these cakes have been in virtually 20 minutes now, and they're done. As you can see, they're nice and golden brown, and that's where the orange juice has come in handy. That's made them nice, lovely, given them a lovely colour. I'm just going to take them out, move them to the side, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take them out and put them onto a cooling rack. Now these were the ones that, it was the pink cases and the yellow cases I did. They were the jammy ones. As you can see, the jam has actually sunk into, it's just sort of gone from the top into the middle of the cake, so that'll be a lovely surprise. Sometimes it doesn't always happen. Sometimes the jam, you'll actually still see the jam after they've been cooked. It'll still be in the middle, but either way it doesn't matter. They're still lovely. They're faked fairy cakes. To make 12 large chocolate fairy cakes, you will need 1 sachet of 250 grams of faked chocolate cake mix. Place it into a mixing bowl, add 65 grams of soft margarine, pour on 125 ml of water, or you can use pure orange juice if you prefer. Use a balloon whisk and mix for about 1 minute until all the ingredients are blended well. Pour into 12 paper cases set inside a patty tin, and if you like, you can add a suitable chocolate spread to the centre before baking. For 6 cakes, half an exchange would be sufficient. Just weigh carefully, then divide it evenly between the 6 cakes and use a teaspoon to press it down a little. Preheat the oven, gas mark 5, 190 degrees centigrade. Bake for around 15 to 20 minutes depending on your oven. Remove to a wire rack to cool. Faked chocolate fairy cakes. Okay, so while the cakes are cooling, you want to think about the decoration. You needn't actually do any decorating of the fairy cakes at all. Just a sprinkle of icing sugar would be great. Serve them with a piece of fruit. They're lovely just as they are. But I think, well, who doesn't like decorating fairy cakes? And the easiest, really, and the most popular is with buttercream. There are shop-bought buttercreams that you can use that are quite low in protein, but there's nothing like the taste really of homemade buttercream. I think it's much nicer. In a bowl I've put 125 grams of icing sugar, and I've got 50 grams of block butter. You can use tub butter, but it might be a little bit softer. But it's always best, I mean, don't use the butter straight out of the fridge. Get it out of the fridge before you need it, about an hour before, so it warms up a little bit. And then you just need a little bit of liquid. You can add water, but here, because I used orange juice in the cakes, I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of orange juice to the sugar. And I'm going to use electric hand whisk, but because they're quite powerful machines and the icing sugar might go all over the place if I don't actually give it a start with a spoon first. So I'm just going to gently just mix that in, and this is why having your butter a little bit warmer will help. Just going to get everything kind of a little bit mixed in. You don't need to do too much of it. So that's just enough really to start it, and then I'm going to swap now to the hand whisk and whisk it until it's really nice and fluffy. That's it. I think that's quite nice and smooth. All you need really just to clean off your beaters a little bit. You probably will lose some. then what you can actually do, you can stir in a little bit of colouring if you like. I've got a little bit of yellow here, and you just need just a couple of drops, not too much, because you can use all different sorts of colours. You can actually do some yellow and some white or pink, whatever you want. Just kind of test it. Yeah, I think that's not too bad a colour. Nice and smooth, no streaks of yellow in there, and that's fine. That's ready to go into the piping bag. So another popular decoration is glace icing, which is simply just icing sugar, and I've got 75 grams in a bowl here, and you just mix it with the liquid. You can use water, you can use fruit juice. I'll use water here, and you want about 4 teaspoonfuls of just plain cold water. And then just use the tablespoon, metal tablespoon, and just stir it to blend in. Now you might have to play around with a bit more icing sugar. If you've just added that little bit too much water or juice, might need to add a bit more icing sugar. Or if it's a bit thick, you need a little bit more water. Just basically just get it mixed in, and then you can have a look at the consistency. Now to me that looks a little bit too runny. If I put that on top of a cake, it would actually just run off. You can see it's quite runny. So I'm going to just add a little bit more icing sugar. And you can see it's coming a little bit more creamy now, which is exactly what you're looking for. It's still a little bit on the thick side, on the thin side. I shall add just a little bit more icing sugar. Be careful, don't add too much, otherwise you'll be ending up having to add more water. So steady goes it. Just another half a teaspoonful. You can add a little squirt of lemon juice if you want as well. That'll kind of calm down the sweetness, give it a bit of a tang. That's quite nice in glace icing. But this is just simple icing sugar and water, that's fine. And that is okay. That's about this consistency you're looking for. So if you're using buttercream, the best way to put it on is to actually use a piping bag and use a star nozzle. I think that gives the nicest effect. Put your star nozzle in the bottom and then just spoon in the buttercream. And just push it down to the bottom till you can see it almost coming out of the nozzle. That's fine. You take your buttercream, take your piping bag and just pipe a swirl on there like that. And then I'll do a chocolate one as well. And then there are all different types of sprinkles you can use. There's lots that is freely allowed. We've got dried fruits such as cranberries are really nice, little sweeties with no protein in, hundreds and thousands, things like that, which are quite nice. So, and then we've got some red glimmer sugar here, which I've used on the top of this one. And then they can actually, you can eat them as they are, or you can actually freeze them like that as well, with the decorations all in place, just protect them. That's lovely. So another way is to butterfly the cakes, and just take a cake, and you want a kind of a sharp serrated knife if you can, and then just gently, very gently, just cut off the top layer of the cake. Just be very gentle, because the sponge is very soft. And just take that and just cut that in half. And I'll take a chocolate one. I'll do a chocolate one as well. They don't have to be too perfect. And then into the middle of the cake, I just quite like add a little bit of jam. And then pop a little bit of buttercream just to cover the jam. And then add the butterfly rings, just press those down. And then, if you like, just a few sprinkles. I've got some little gold bits here. And then maybe a few sugar stars on this one. And to use the glace icing, just simply take your cake and just use a knife and just take some. And just spread it nice and evenly over the cake. This is where you'll definitely know whether the icing is thick enough, because if it isn't, it'll just dribble all over the sides of the cake. And then all you need to do, I've got a few sweeties here, is just add your decoration. I'll just put a line of jelly tots on here. Really simple. And the chocolate one, I'll do exactly the same. Just spread your glace icing on the top, and then I'll add a little bit of blue dust on there. And you need to add, if you have sprinkles on top of glace icing, you have to add them before the icing sets. That's it, that's lovely. Okay, now I'm just going to take a little tiny piping bag with a plain nozzle, just a tiny one. And I'm just going to spoon some of this icing in here. You don't need much in the piping bag. It's easy to manage actually if there isn't that much in there. And I'm just going to take one of the jammy cakes that we did, which is one of these, and I'm just going to very gently, backwards and forwards, just to make a pattern. I think that's quite effective. Just any old how really. And then I've got a chocolate one here, which is the ones that we did we put the chocolate spread in. And just hiddledy-piddledy all over. And then there you are, just leave those to set. And here they are, all 24 nicely decorated Fate Fairy cakes.